The private jet belonging to Sean Diddy Combs is back in South Florida, landing at Opa-locka Airport before noon on Wednesday.
Private plane landed in Miami on Wednesday after 2 of his homes were raided by officials earlier this week.
What up, yo? How you doing? Yeah. No place like home.
On March 25th, 2024, the FBI launched one of the most significant operations the entertainment industry had ever witnessed, an all-out raid on 2 of Diddy's most extravagant properties, his Los Angeles mansion and Miami beachfront estate. But it wasn't just these luxurious homes that were under siege. Federal agents, backed by the Department of Homeland Security, were also targeting something even more personal, something that had been central to Diddy's meteoric rise to superstardom and his enigmatic lifestyle, his $60 million Gulfstream G550 private jet. Diddy's private jet was no ordinary aircraft. For years, it had become a symbol of his towering success, a lavish extension of his empire where business deals were struck, relationships were forged, and most infamously, wild exclusive parties were held. The blacked out Gulfstream had hosted some of the most prominent names in Hollywood and the music industry. But now, it was more than just a luxury aircraft. It was the centerpiece of an investigation that could unravel secrets stretching across years of Diddy's high-flying career. What did the FBI uncover during their raid? Could this be the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's biggest moguls? The rumors, Diddy's jet as the center of a darker world.
Is there more to that plane or another plane that meets the eye? Could that plane be a source of evidence of anything that Combs is accused of now? Will there be flight manifests that provide information about high-profile people who were on that plane, potential sex workers that were on that plane, alleged accusers on that plane? Because it's important when we talk about sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution, these kinds of charges, there is an element of transporting people over state or international lines.
For years, rumors swirled around Diddy's extravagant parties aboard the Gulfstream G550, known to his inner circle as freak-off parties. These weren't your average celebrity get-togethers. They were secretive, highly exclusive gatherings attended by A-list celebrities, musicians, actors, and models held far away from prying eyes. From destinations like Ibiza to remote Caribbean islands, Diddy's jet whisked his guests away to locations where anything and everything seemed to be possible. Public opinion had long speculated about what really happened during these infamous parties. Were they simply debaucherous affairs where celebrities let loose, or was there something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? Some former insiders hinted at the latter. There were whispers of drugs, excessive alcohol, and wild behavior. But what really set these parties apart, according to some sources, were the alleged power dynamics and exploitation that took place. These rumors never made it beyond whispers. Until now, the FBI's raid on Diddy's jet wasn't just about finding illegal substances or evidence of misconduct at his homes. No, they were after something much bigger.
We couldn't confirm then that Diddy was the target of the search, but we had a good idea what investigators were looking for: electronic evidence of alleged illegal acts like sexual assault or racketeering. These allegations date back to November of last year, when Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, filed civil suit against Diddy. She laid out some major claims against him, saying over the course of their relationship, Diddy physically and emotionally abused her, forced her to carry illegal weapons, and even made her have sex with prostitutes. The lawsuit was settled outside of court just one day after it was filed, but it was just the start of the wave of lawsuits that Diddy would soon face.
When agents boarded the Gulfstream, they reportedly seized a treasure trove of electronics, laptops, mobile phones, and most alarmingly, encrypted hard drives. These devices were said to contain damning evidence that could expose not just Diddy's involvement in questionable activities, but possibly implicate others in his circle. The stakes were sky high. The timing was Diddy tipped off. In the hours before the FBI descended on his properties, Diddy's jet mysteriously took off from Los Angeles, heading to the Caribbean, eventually landing in Antigua. This sudden flight fueled intense speculation that Diddy had been tipped off about the impending raids. Antigua, after all, has complex extradition agreements with the United States. Did Diddy flee in a calculated move to evade law enforcement? Although Diddy's legal team later claimed the flight was pre-scheduled, many saw this as too coincidental. The timing couldn't have been worse for Diddy, and the media quickly latched onto the narrative that he was potentially on the run. Some even speculated that the jet had carried not only Diddy, but key evidence that could implicate him in more than just misconduct. The freak-off parties, secrets hidden in the skies.
As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs.
As details of the raid began to leak, the focus shifted to the so-called freak-off parties that Diddy had allegedly hosted aboard his jet. For years, these parties had been the stuff of Hollywood legend. Only the most exclusive, high-profile celebrities were invited. People like Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ashton Kutcher, Jay-Z, and Beyonce were all rumored to have attended these secretive gatherings. But what exactly happened on these flights?
It is called a freak-off. This alleged sexual performance that is at the center of this criminal case facing the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs. The main allegation is that Combs led a criminal enterprise. And the goal of this criminal enterprise, other than to operate a global media and entertainment business, was to engage in the abuse of women, sex trafficking, forced labor, prostitution, the distribution of drugs, to use violence and threats, to commit crimes like kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, to carry out their goals, their missions, all the while making sure to satisfy the sexual desires of Sean Combs. And one of those desires, as alleged by the government, by prosecutors, and also alleged by several Combs accusers in separate civil lawsuits that they filed against him, were the commission of freak-offs.
Public opinion had always speculated about the darker side of these parties, with some insiders suggesting that they involved not just drugs and alcohol, but potentially something far more nefarious: exploitation, coercion, and even trafficking. While none of these allegations were ever confirmed, the fact that the FBI had seized multiple encrypted devices from the jet now raised the terrifying possibility that evidence of such activities might exist. Imagine the kind of evidence investigators could be combing through: video recordings, explicit communications, or even financial transactions linking Diddy and other celebrities to these dark and secretive parties. It's the kind of material that could not only destroy Diddy's career, but ripple through Hollywood, bringing down several of his most famous friends. Were these parties more than just high-profile escapades? Could they have been a front for something far more sinister? The seizure, what the FBI took.
As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs: electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
The FBI raid wasn't just about seizing material goods. It was about unraveling the network of people and transactions that had kept Diddy's empire afloat. Among the items taken were expensive jewelry, cash, and other luxury items that might serve as evidence of financial misconduct. But the most valuable pieces of evidence, by far, were the hard drives and laptops confiscated from the jet. Reports suggested that these devices contained encrypted files that could potentially link Diddy to criminal enterprises or corroborate the testimonies of accusers who had come forward over the years. What could be on those drives? Could they reveal private communications between Diddy and his closest associates, some of whom are powerful figures in the entertainment industry? What if these communications implicate other high-profile celebrities in acts that could destroy their careers? The power dynamics, Hollywood's silence.
In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses.
As the investigation intensified, one thing became increasingly clear. Hollywood was growing eerily silent. Major celebrities who had long been part of Diddy's inner circle, like Justin Bieber, Jay-Z, and Beyonce, all distanced themselves from the embattled mogul. This silence spoke volumes. For years, Diddy had surrounded himself with the biggest names in music, film, and fashion, building a close-knit circle that seemed untouchable. But now, many of those same people were steering clear of the controversy. Why were these celebrities distancing themselves so quickly? Was it simply self-preservation, or did they know more than the public did? Rumors started to swirl that some of these A-listers might have been present at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. Were they involved in, or at least witnesses to, the activities under investigation? If so, their silence could be as telling as any evidence the FBI might uncover. This isn't the first time a major scandal has rocked Hollywood, but the potential fallout from this investigation could be devastating. Just like the cases involving Jeffrey Epstein or Harvey Weinstein, the Diddy investigation could pull back the curtain on a hidden world of exploitation and corruption among the entertainment elite. Could Diddy's case be the next domino to fall in a growing list of powerful men being brought down by their own excesses? Diddy's empire in jeopardy.
The empire that was Sean Diddy Combs was once valued at $1 billion after facing a tsunami of sexual misconduct lawsuits beginning in November of 2023. Many companies who have once thrived by having a name like Diddy attached to them began distancing themselves from the Bad Boy Records founder. And while Diddy, through his attorney, has maintained his innocence in the wake of his sex trafficking arrests, it's clear Diddy's wealth and power has diminished from what it once was.
As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal.
Diddy himself also released an apology video after the video was made public. And while he didn't mention Cassie's name, he claimed his horrific actions were because he was going through a difficult time.
I was f***ed up.
I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
For years, Diddy's business empire seemed untouchable. His influence extended far beyond music, with ventures in fashion, media, and alcohol that made him a billionaire. But now, the empire he built so meticulously is crumbling before the public's eyes. Brands that once clamored to be associated with him are quietly cutting ties. His media company, Revolt, is reportedly hemorrhaging partnerships, and Diddy's reputation is on the verge of collapse. In the court of public opinion, Diddy is already losing. Social media is ablaze with debates over the FBI's investigation. Some fans refuse to believe the accusations, defending Diddy and accusing the media of a smear campaign. Others are convinced that this is the beginning of the end for the bad boy mogul, predicting that the evidence uncovered in the raid will expose him for who he really is. But perhaps the most significant blow to Diddy's empire came when his sons, Christian and Justin Combs, were reportedly seen in handcuffs outside one of the raided properties. While it's unclear whether they were taken into custody or simply questioned, the mere sight of them in handcuffs sent shockwaves through the media. Could Diddy's family be caught up in the scandal as well? Are they victims, or do they know more than they're letting on? The unraveling. What comes next?
First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
The FBI's investigation into Diddy is far from over. As agents sift through the mountain of evidence they seized from his jet and properties, more details will undoubtedly emerge. Will we learn about financial schemes designed to cover up illegal activities? Will the encrypted files on Diddy's devices reveal disturbing footage or private conversations that could confirm the rumors of trafficking or other serious crimes? And what about the celebrities who partied with Diddy? Will they be dragged into the investigation? Could this scandal be the one that finally exposes the dark underbelly of Hollywood, where power, wealth, and secrecy combine to protect those who engage in reprehensible behavior? Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail to protect him, labeling the investigation as a witch hunt designed to tear down a successful black businessman. But the gravity of the accusations cannot be ignored. The comparisons to Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein are already being made. And if the investigation yields the kind of evidence that the public suspects, Diddy could face a downfall as spectacular as his rise to fame. In the coming months, we'll likely see more celebrities distancing themselves from Diddy, more brands severing ties, and more lawsuits piling up. The legal battles will be intense, and the public will be watching every move. Could this investigation uncover a Hollywood conspiracy that goes beyond Diddy? Could the FBI raids mark the beginning of a massive takedown of powerful figures in the entertainment industry? One thing is for sure, the fallout from the FBI's raid on Diddy's private jet could change everything, not just for Diddy, but for Hollywood as a whole. This is more than just a scandal. is the unraveling of an empire, a web of secrets that has been hidden for far too long. As the investigation deepens, the world will be watching to see who falls next.